And we rocking, we rolling. This is Guys with Thighs, episode 39.
Yeah.
Woo! We getting there.
Big 4-0.
Buddy, we going. We going. We missed last week. My fault. I thought I had internet. Didn't have internet. And then I couldn't figure it out because I'm not a techie. I'm not like you, bud.
Hey, I'm not a big techie
That's
either.
such a
Audio is my thing.
Stop it. Wait. Did you turn it off and turn it back on?
Yeah.
That's about as far as I got.
That's most of what I got. And then Google.
Google
that shit, baby. That's all you gotta do.
I gotta tell a little story real quick. So you know how like Sal tells the old stories about old HQ, right?
Oh yeah.
And how when he put out the rubber duckies because he got sick of people asking him like questions.
I remember that day. Yeah.
Okay, so this goes for everybody. Okay, so this goes for everybody. Sal in old HQ, it was a much smaller company. We didn't have necessarily the leadership structure in place that we do now. So everybody would go to Sal whenever they had a question, right? Mm-hmm. Because Sal would just, throw water on the fire and put it out and get the answer and blah, blah, blah. Oh. So one day Sal got sick of it, okay? He was just like, no more. And he got a bunch of these little rubber duckies. I don't know if it was off Amazon. I don't know if it was at Walmart. It doesn't matter. And he put them all over the office. And those were to symbolize, did you Google it? Mm-hmm. Or did you try to find the answer prior to getting to me? Because he got so sick of answering these questions that people could find the answers to. They were just too lazy to go find. So now whenever somebody asks me a question that like they literally could have Googled, like, hey, what's the date for this? I just send them a GIF of rubber ducky. And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, Google it. So my personal story is Caleb texted me the other day.
Okay.
And he's there's this movement, it's called a devil's press in CrossFit. Mm-hmm. And we were doing a workout with devil's press and he texted the group, he's like, what's devil press? And we kind of got ignored because we were laughing and we were joking with Mason. We're in a group chat. And later in the conversation, Caleb's like, I still don't know what a devil's press is. So all I did was send a GIF of a big old rubber ducky, and I said, fucking Google it. Because I was just like, dude, first off, we've done devil presses before. Second off, it's really easy to Google. Like, that exercise is all over YouTube. Mm-hmm. So it was that's my little one. And I can throw him under the bus because it's Caleb, and he knows. We had a conversation about it. He was just like, yeah, you're right. Don't be lazy, okay, folks? If you can get the answer off Google without asking somebody or going to read something and you can get the answer, do that first, okay? Mm-hmm. It'll make your bosses a lot happier. It'll make your boss's bosses a lot happier. Okay, there you go. Moral of the story.
Yeah. What you just added right there is all.
My bad.
Hey, that was beautiful. That
coming
was
in hot. Yeah, coming in hot.
Yeah. Only thing I was gonna add to that is like, hey, you just mentioned it. Use other resources too, not just Google. Freaking ask. You may have some friends that know more about it. You may have books that can give you the answer that you need. Mm-hmm. Use all your resources. Like my favorite. Both of our favorites actually. YouTube University's got everything you need. There's videos that show you how to do it actually too.
It's called how-tos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a video off YouTube one time how to replace my headlight.
Oh, hey.
If you have a Ford Fusion, mine's 2010. I don't know if they're different from other ones, but
it's on there.
Don't freaking do it though. Take it to somebody else. I couldn't get I knew exactly how to do it, but my arm didn't fit in the freaking car.
Got it.
I understand why mechanics are usually very skinny because it was horrible. But I figured out how to do it from YouTube and got it done myself.
My stepdad, dude, he loves working on the car because of YouTube. Absolutely loves it, and I respect him for it. Like he'll just tinker on the car and everything like that. And he's just like, yep, YouTube it. Oh, that didn't work. I'm gonna YouTube again. Yep. It's like, all right, Dwayne, here we go. But yeah, like honestly, it's amazing the amount of hassle and little busy work you put on your boss's, or you save your boss, right? And that's the whole thing. Like they're busy putting out the big fires. You don't want to bother them with something with an answer that you can get. Right, exactly. Like you have to take stuff off of your boss's plate, like linchpin, taking stuff off of your boss's plate so that they can go out and kill, as Andy says, and then you can continue keeping everything else moving. And if there's a question that you may have that you can go find the answer to, go do it. And I know it's a lot easier to ask somebody, especially higher up, that has been there before, but hey, that's the easy way out, and you haven't learned the skill to go after it. right? And it's a really, really important skill to learn, to be that person that goes and figures it out before asking the big boss.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it just goes back to being able to solve problems on your own without asking for help. Like, it's like, hey, there's a problem here. Instead of just going and telling your boss, hey, there's a problem. You're like, hey, I had this problem come up and this is what I did to fix it. What do you think? That's what you go ask your boss. Like, you try to fix the problem on your own. And hey, if you messed up a little bit, you learned a lot right there. And your boss is going to think, oh, this person took initiative to try to actually fix this first. They're going to see that as a huge, huge benefit to having you on the team, because they have big shit to do. Like you were saying, like, you can take their spot if you're able to solve those problems without asking questions. That's what you mentioned, linchpin. You're linchpinning yourself to that person so they can move and you can do what they do. And then you keep moving up the ladder that way. You got to learn what the next person above you is doing.
I'm pretty sure that's Leadership Strategies and Tactics by Jocko as well. I think it's in that one, is where, like, okay, cool, you're going to take this, and then the level of leadership is like, okay, cool, I asked, can you review this? Is this the right decision? Then eventually they're going to start trusting you just to take it on, right? And then that's how you step up into that next level of leadership, is when you gain the trust of your leaders, because they know that you can FIO, figure it out on your own, and you solve the problem in a correct way.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I love that so much. And like with your specific role, like wherever you're going, no matter what position it is, like the more that you can take off of the person's plate above you, the more likely you'll be able to take their position, because they're able to go do bigger stuff. Like, just to simplify that, no matter what you're doing, customer service role, a sales role, if you're just entry-level worker, like, do your job. Like, you have to do your role to a very high level. You have to be really good at what you do, and then take on that little bit of extra, and slowly keep adding more, and keep doing that process until you get to the next level. So
And that's how you create a successful career anywhere. Love it. Well, let's talk about coming in hot, huh? Well, that was fun.
Absolutely.
So it's been 2 weeks since we talked. What have you been up to, my dude?
I mean, dude, just been working my ass off in the gym, obviously trying to put on a little bit of muscle. My goal right now has really been locking into my work and being able to balance the quantity and quality of it.
I like that.
So a lot of what I've had to do is it's a lot of push and pull. Like, I notice I'm going a little bit too far this way, then I have to go back to the middle, and then I end up going back the other way. So it's kind of a pendulum. And I mean, that just makes me think of another Jocko book, The Dichotomy of Leadership. And with that dichotomy of leadership, what I took from that book is the dichotomy of literally just life. Because you have to have balance in everything. Like, you can go too far one way, like, and then too far the other. There's always a middle spot. And the example I always bring up for that is, you can literally drink too much water.
Yeah.
There have been people who have drank so much water they get rid of all their electrolytes in their body, and you can literally die.
And it actually has the same symptoms as dehydration. Yeah, fatigue, headache, like sweating, and all of a sudden, or lack of sweating. It's not even sweating because everything's already gone. And yeah, it's crazy that the same thing, the same symptoms are from completely opposite ends of the spectrum, but it leads to the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, obviously you drink too little and you can mess yourself up too. And that's something that's a lesson I'm learning right now, because something that I struggle with is getting hyper focused on one thing that I'm doing right now. It's like, when I was in my bodybuilding prep, I am freaking focused on my bodybuilding prep. I'm putting everything into that. And then, like, say for right now, it's like I'm hyper focused on my work, being able to get the quality and the quantity. And something I'm trying to continue is being able to do everything else that I'm working on at that high level too. And that's just, there's a ton of different things that go into that, but just keeping in mind that I have to have that balance. Like, I can't just pour everything into one thing at a time. Like, you do 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here. Like, you practice each thing that you need to do every single day. And you don't have to do things for hours upon hours on end every single day to get better at them. And that's the mindset that I generally would go into certain things. It's like, hey, I need to be locked into this one thing. It's like, no, just put a couple drops into each of the buckets you want to fill each day, rather than trying to dump all the water into one bucket in one day and then move on to the next.
And some days, like, you might throw a couple more drops in your physical bucket, or you might throw a couple of more drops into your YouTube University bucket, and it might change depending on what goal and what outcome you want to create. Right? So you're still hitting all the buckets, but today you're going to focus a little bit more on this bucket. Right? I'm going to make 10 more calls today, so I'm going to focus a little bit more. We're going to take a little bit, 10 minutes off of our workout so we can get this done. And then it might be like that. So it's interchangeable, and that's where that dichotomy comes in, to where, like, you don't want to push too far this way, but we can sprinkle a little here, a little here, a little here, but you don't want to put too much this way to where you spread yourself thin. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's just something recently I've realized that, like, it's just, it ebbs and flows within, like, when I'm focusing on certain things. Like, I noticed that, hey, I'm putting way too much into this one thing. I got to come back this way. And what I'm trying to do is notice before it happens and prevent it from going all the way down that hyper-focused path.
How are you trying to notice before it happens? Are you journaling? Are you doing late night reflection, meditation? What are you doing to kind of notice that in advance?
I think the biggest thing that's helped me recently is prayer.
Okay.
And prayer, and also, so I actually mentioned it in the 2 weeks ago podcast, where I was going to start a small group with some of my friends, actually, like, they're my friends that I've been known for the longest time since like middle school. But talking with them more about my faith, and really, it's not like a Bible study. We go in with, like, hey, this is something that has helped me grow closer to God this week, or maybe, hey, this is something that has pulled me away. And just kind of reviewing my week in that lens with my boys, who are able to give me their perspective as well, has helped me realize, like, whoa, hey, like, this, if I'm struggling with that, then I'm putting way too much into this other area. So basically, reflection with other people is probably the biggest thing that has helped. But at the end of the day, I just make sure, ask myself, okay, what went well, what didn't go well, what can I improve? With, like, the that's AAR, that's after action review in the military, correct?
Yep.
I learned that from someone who took it from them, and I try to ask myself that at the end of every day. Like, hey, what can I do better? What went well? Let's continue those things.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. It's awesome that seeing, like, things from the military, how you can bring them into the civilian sector, and it's still useful, right? Like, having that after action after every single day, or even actually after an encounter, a meeting, anything like that, as just like a quick reflection time. Like, and it can be quick too. Like, what happened? How do I digest this? I don't want to say digest. How do I not communicate? What's my word? Clearly, it's I need more sleep.
Yeah.
How do I bring this into my life? How do I reflect on? No, I already said reflect. Absorb this. Yes, that's a better word. And then what can I do now to either use this information if I think it was useful, or, like, explain why I don't think it was useful and why I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's hilarious. We went through so many different things that have come from the military, like multiple Jocko references already.
True.
And like, I mean, I think that's because they have done it, like, they have essentially done an after action review on their systems for so long.
Yeah.
Like, they have been slowly improving those processes in every single thing that they do. And, like, they start with a structure. They start with, hey, this is how we do it. They get results from that structure, and then sometimes they got to go back and change it a little bit.
And the thing that I love about military systems, and trust me, there's a lot of things I don't like about military systems, but a lot of, like, after action reports and things like that, communication, proper communication, how to talk up and down the chain of command, everything like that. It's that way because it's been pressure tested either downrange and in war, or specifically in simulated war conditions, to where they pressure test it to be like, okay, there's a leak, that's not going to work, we got to fix this. And that's why those systems are so great. when bringing them strategically into the civilian sector, where you have to change them and mold them a little bit to what your building is, because you can't have direct implementation of military. It just doesn't work because of the rank structure. But you can use pieces of it, and that's what I think is really, really important, and that's why we use them, and that's why we reference them in our talks and conversations, because we take what we get from Jocko, we take what we get from McRaven. What was his first name? He wrote "Make Your Bed," and the Navy SEAL, and we bring it into Admiral McRaven. I know that's not his first name, but I want to give him respect. Right? And we bring it into our lives, into our companies, and then we implement it in our lives. So, they have to be changed a little bit. They can't be exactly carbon copies, but they're very, very useful in the civilian sector. I can tell you that much.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that that whole system of how they create systems is really awesome to take away, because we actually talked about it not too long ago about, hey, create your system, create your schedule where, hey, you're going to knock out these few things in the morning, these few at night.
Yep.
And you do that for a while, test it, see how it works, and then, okay, there's a little bit of a leak here. We're going to plug that hole with, hey, maybe I need to do my reading. If you're doing reading at night, do it in the morning, because reading in the morning actually makes you think about the reading all day and you remember more. But making small adjustments like that as you go, but starting with a system and see what works. And then move things around if you need to make it work a little bit better.
Yeah, it's like playing on a chessboard, man. You go here, some can go here, some can go there. And that's different for each and every one of us, but it's up to us to play the pieces as the board is there, right? Is out in front of us. So we all see the board differently, and we all see what might help us win differently. But really, realistically, only we can create those systems for ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just know I am have always previously been a big proponent of just winging shit.
Jesus.
Not having I have for a long time I would just wing shit, and I know a lot of people out there are probably like, oh yeah, no, I've been okay up till now, just winging it. It's I got this, but trust me when I say this. I have did that for too long.
I'm that way when I travel, dude. It pisses so many people off. Anybody who travels with me. Did you pack yet?
Vacation.
Did you pack yet? No. I packed the morning of after the laundry I did last night, because all the stuff I wanted in my bag is in the laundry. So I packed. Oh my God, it drives people insane, including my mother. And my mother's difficult to get driving insane, but I pack like it's little things like that I need to improve on that system. Do laundry 2 days prior instead of a day prior, but I'm still working on it. Okay, I got my flaws. I have my flaws.
100%. Hey, dude, on vacation I'm winging everything. I don't want So
there's some people that go in with plans, dude. They had a list. We're gonna do this at X o'clock. We're gonna do that at next o'clock, and then this. And I'm like, bro, that's too much for me.
I was about to say my aunt did that on a trip one time.
Really?
I was the only one that would do it, because I know other people felt. I was just like, hey, we can't do this. It's I'm cool. We can definitely do those things.
Yeah.
But we cannot have a schedule like this.
Yeah, I'm on vacation.
Yeah, we're relaxing here, baby. Yeah. Come on. But yeah, so with getting back to it, the winging it in situations like coming to work. If I just come in and wing it, it's hey, I'm just gonna do as many as I can all over the place. That's I've seen in my actual numbers, tracking them, that those days are not as good.
Yep.
I come in with a system hey, I'm gonna do 1 or 2 from this section, or I'm gonna knock out all these first, then I'm gonna go to this section, then I'm gonna go do some calls, and have a system to follow. I always have a better day. And it's not just the numbers either. It's also the quality I'm able to put into my work, because I don't have to think about you're not having that anxiety about oh, what do I do next? You can automatically go into it. So you use less brain power figuring out, oh, what do I got to do next? And you use all of your brain power into what you're doing right now. And that goes to something we've been taught here, I've been taught here for 7 years, is one task at a time. Do it one thing at a time. And you'll get a lot more out of it, because it's say that you are just a phone call with somebody, you're talking, even if it's just a family member or a friend, and you're playing video games or on the computer or something while you're doing it, like you're not gonna put much into that call, and they're gonna know that you're just distracted. Like,
well, I mean, we just saw it firsthand. I was looking for a video on my phone while talking to you. Like it was pre-pod, and I was like scrolling looking for a video, and I was talking to you, trying to give attention to both, and at the same time, like I was disrespecting you a little bit because I didn't get the whole thing from the conversation. And at the same time, I didn't find the freaking video. So, but that's a perfect example of like trying to do two things at once. I didn't give you the time you deserved, and I still didn't find the video. And it was just like shit. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with work. Like I might try to be answering an email and talking to a call, but at the same time, I might be telling this person the thing that I wanted to type. Yeah. And now this person's confused. I'm confused, and nothing happens. Exactly. Nothing good happens.
Yeah. Hey, some people can multitask like that. I know, but I don't. Even if you can, you're gonna be able to give that individual more if it's one at a time.
Yeah.
And like for example, what you're just talking about. If you would have focused on one at a time, mm-hmm. you would have found the video and not disrespected me.
Yep.
And it would have been about the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So like multitasking, I am not like a very big proponent of in most situations. There's things where you can definitely multitask, but like focusing on one task at a time, being present in the current moment. That's the biggest thing with that. Mm-hmm. Is not thinking about, oh, hey, what happened yesterday? Like, oh, hey, I messed this up. Like that's just going to cause anxiety. Mm-hmm. You think about like, hey, what's going to happen if I mess this up? Future thinking, then you're more likely to mess it up. If you're thinking about right now, what do I got to do right now? That is going to give you the best result every single time. And actually, a book that I recommend for that concept right there is called Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Oh. And basically, he actually went into every type of religion. Like he studied Buddhism, Hindu, like Catholics, everything he could think of.
Yep.
And he put it all, he kind of used the influence from all of them into this book, but talks about being present and how that's really truly the key to fulfillment. And like the monks and stuff who are enlightened because they can stay 100% present all the time.
Yeah.
That's what true enlightenment is.
Yeah.
Being present right now. So.
That's awesome. Well, on that note, like because you mentioned like all the different religions, you were talking about your group a little bit, and you had a big discussion that you were talking about with your group. You want to bring that up a little bit?
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago I said I was going to start that little group, and we had our first little meeting discussion today, and it went really, really well. My friend Michael shared a Bible verse. I can't remember the exact Bible verse, but what I took from it was so significant and really helped me understand something that I have struggled with a lot in the past, even more. But basically, he said the Bible verse that he got was explaining the difference between, like, hey, if you're pursuing power, that can be sinful. Where, like, the pursuit of control, power, even a lot of people will throw money in there, can be sinful. Goes back to greed. Where, actually, yeah, so it's two different Bible verses. Where one talked about where pursuing power can be sinful, and the other one is where God wants us to pursue excellence, being the best version of ourselves that we can possibly be. So I know a lot of people will get that line blurred there. It's like, hey, how can I tell if I'm pursuing power versus pursuing excellence? And basically what we got to was, hey, if you can pursue like power in a sense, if the intent behind it is to help others. And so like that's the same thing with pursuing excellence. You're pursuing excellence so that you can help more people. And a lot of people will get that mixed up with like, hey, if you're a famous actor or making a lot of money, where you have power and influence over people, say like NFL players, like freaking, I'm drawing Mahomes. I was trying to think of the number one, like most famous right now, and Mahomes is everywhere on every commercial that I freaking see. It's annoying, but people like that, like they can use that power and influence to help more people, or they can use it for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
And basically, the intent behind your success, like behind why you want to be successful, is really where you can align yourself with God. And that was super, super beneficial to me, because we also talked about, like, hey, also be comfortable with, if you're not meant to be an NFL football player, because that's 0.01% of the world, or of the United States, that's okay. Pursue excellence on your journey. Like we've talked about it many times, comparison is the thief of joy.
Mm-hmm.
So like, pursue excellence, have massive, massive goals, but also keep in mind, it's like, hey, God's got me. He's got a plan for me. He's going to help me do what I need to do. Keep pursuing excellence and have the right intent, and you'll be good.
Love that. Absolutely love that. And I couldn't agree more. Now that you explained it a little bit and you actually had me listening the entire thing, I agree. I know when we first talked about it, I might have misconstrued it as just like, because you used actor the first time instead of NFL player. And I was just like, why don't you just become an actor? Like, if you truly want to become an actor, that means God put that into the universe for you, or into your mind, and he provided you the opportunity. So do your best where you're at, but if you want to become an actor, you can still pursue that as long as the intent, as you were saying, is correct. You don't want to become an actor just to get influence so you can tell people what to do. You want to become an actor to influence society in a positive way, right? Like, so like that's where me giving you the full attention in this changed how I thought on the thing, and I'm in agreement with you now compared to I was pushing back earlier in pre-pod. So thank you for going through that. I really appreciate you talking through that in a different way.
Of course. Yeah, and I had a little practice doing pre-pod. Like, that's perfect. You're getting to vocalize it a little bit before. So hey, reps and sets, guys, even
reps
for
and
things
sets
like the
over
podcast.
a long period of time. And guess what? The reason I sat there and listened to him was because I have 2 ears and one mouth, and I wanted to make sure that I was hearing it correctly from his group. And when he re-explained it, it made a hell of a lot more sense to me in my brain here. So
and then the second time through made it a little bit more clear. I did a little better explaining there. But yeah, that's something that I know a lot of people who listen to the podcast may struggle with, because y'all have big goals. And like that's something when I was younger, like, hey, I want to be the best in this, and like the best ever to do it in this, and that goal changed a bunch when I was younger. It's like, hey, whatever sport I'm playing right now, I want to be the best ever to ever play this game. And like that's a mindset that I've had for a long time, and you just have to know, hey, God's got you. He's got the perfect plan for you. Keep doing your very best, but keep that in mind. He's got your back. Whatever, if you're putting forth your full effort, he's got your back.
Hell yeah. All right, I think that's a great place to wrap, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciate you guys for listening along, watching along, and don't forget to drop a comment just to let us know that you're there, and we'll interact with you a little bit and get pick your brain, because we need a few topics coming up.
Yeah.
So, good deal, brother?
Absolutely.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right, y'all. Let's go stack dubs this week, huh?
Make it a great week.
Yep.